So you may have noticed from my most recent videos that I'm a fan of Love and Deepspace. But what you may not know is that I'm also a Pokemon fan. I've loved Pokemon for as long as I can remember, with my favorite generation being Gen 4, and Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky is one of my favorite video games of all time. Anyway, one thing I really enjoy doing whenever I discover a new fandom is ask myself, what Pokemon teams would these characters have? So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. I'll be going through all 5 love interests and giving each of them a Pokemon team. Before we get started, let's set some ground rules. Rule number 1. Each love interest must have a full team of 6. This proved to be a bit challenging for me, but I feel it was worth it. Rule number 2. No legendary or mythic Pokemon. I am aware that some of these love interests are literal gods or demigods or dragons or whatever, but we're looking at, well, their current civilian incarnations. I want to stick with Pokemon that the average person would be able to catch. Also, it wouldn't be fair for, say, Raphael to have a Kyogre, and none of the other guys have legendaries. Rule number 3. No Hisuian Pokemon. This game takes place in the future, so having Hisuian Pokemon would not make sense. Rule number 4. No Paradox Pokemon. I know that half the Paradox Pokemon are futuristic, but it just kind of complicates things, and I think they're only found in Paldea anyway, so yeah. Rule number 5. No Ultra Beasts. Why? Same rule as number 2. And finally, rule number 6. No Mega Evolutions. With all the rules in place, let's get started. We're gonna go in order of appearance, so let's start with Xavier. I definitely think that he would have a Gallade on his team. It would fit with Xavier's overall vibes, and it could be a fun reference to his Lumiere persona. The next Pokemon on his team would be Musharna. Xavier is a very sleepy man, and I could see him using Musharna to help him sleep at night. Or during the day for that matter. His next Pokemon would be Clefairy. Both Xavier and Clefairy aren't originally from Earth, and Fairy type is the closest thing Pokemon has to a Light type. After Clefairy is Aegislash. This one is pretty self-explanatory. It's a sword, and Xavier uses a sword. Then we have Munchlax. They both love food, and Munchlax evolves into Snorlax, aka another Pokemon that is constantly sleeping. And finally, I think he could have a Baniri, both as a reference to his Bun Bun plush and as a reference to that one memory where he has bunny ears. Next up on the list is Zane. Zane is a doctor, so I think he would have an Audino, or Audino, I don't know how it's pronounced. I mean, it's literally a nurse Pokemon. I could see it helping him out during appointments. The next Pokemon he could have is Vanillite. Why would I give him a Vanillite? Simple. Zane has a massive sweet tooth, and he has ice powers. How could I not give him a Vanillite? His next Pokemon could be Weavile. It's another ice-type Pokemon, yes, and it's also a reference to Dawnbreaker. Also, and I realized while typing the script, Weavile is somewhat based on a yokai that was believed to cause cuts on your skin during cold weather. And Zane's arms are said to be scarred from all the times his ice evol goes out of control, so that works too. For his next Pokemon, I went with Amora. Yes, it's another ice type, but it's also a reference to that one cutscene where he and MC watched the Aurora, as well as a reference to Zane's time in the Arctic. 5th on the list is Snover. I mainly put this one on the list because Snover is shown to be able to grow sweet berries, and Zane loves sweets. I could definitely see him snacking on those. And finally, I went with Alolan Vulpix. Not only could it be a reference to Pi, the Arctic fox we meet in the main story, but it could also be another reference to Zane's time in the Arctic. Maybe he found this Alolan Vulpix and it decided to join him. Our third love interest is Raphael. Now, since Raphael grew up in the ocean, I thought it would make sense for most of his Pokemon to be at least somewhat semi-aquatic. It wouldn't make sense for him to have a fire type, for example. Maybe some of these Pokemon were ones that he caught before living on land, and the others were caught later on? Regardless, the first Pokemon on this list is Greninja. Raphael's main weapon is a dagger, and in one of his myths he is an assassin or maybe a ninja, I'm not entirely sure. But it felt appropriate. Next would be Smeargle. They're both artists. And I just realized that it could also be a joke, since Raphael is afraid of cats, and Smeargle is a dog. Anyway, his next Pokemon could be Quillfish. I put this here mostly due to the pufferfish plushie that he's often associated with. Next is Primarina. I mean, he's a merfolk. If I didn't give him a literal mermaid Pokemon, I would not hear the end of it. Next would be Magikarp, both because I thought it would be funny, and because it could be the fish that he catches when you first introduced to him. Finally, Lilligant, in reference to flame lilies, a flower he is often associated with. Number 4 is Silas, and right away, I had to give him a haunch crow. I like to think that this would be Mephisto. It also fits with the whole mob boss theme that Silas has. His second Pokemon could be Hydreigon. It's a reference to Silas's myth where he's literally a dragon, and I had to give him at least one dragon Pokemon. His next Pokemon could be Lucario. Silas's Evol is energy manipulation, and Lucario is able to sense and manipulate auras. Also, Lucario is a fighting type, and Silas attacks by punching things. Lucario could even be his sparring partner. This next one is mostly a joke, but Jigglypuff. Silas loves singing, but he is terrible at it. His fifth Pokemon could be Sableye, a Pokemon with literal gems in his eyes. Yeah, definitely fitting for Silas. And for his final Pokemon, I went with Pyroar. Probably male Pyroar, but either one, honestly. Mostly because in Silas's birthday memory, he mentions that he loves watching nature documentaries, and he and MC come across some lions while in a safari park. Oh, and as an added bonus, Luke and Kieran each get a Murkrow, because I said so. Last but not least, we have Caleb, who I of course had to give an Applin, both as a reference to the Sunny Apple plushie, and as a reference to his reveal trailer which shows him eating an apple. His second Pokemon could be Reuniclus, I think that's how you pronounce it, mostly in reference to his myth. His third Pokemon could be Dragapult. Dragapult is partially based on a military aircraft, which is something Caleb is very familiar with. Next is another dragon type, Drampa. I put this here because Drampa are said to be very protective of children, much like how fiercely protective Caleb is of MC. His fifth Pokemon could be Magnemite, referencing his Gravity Evol, and for his final Pokemon, I went with Arcanine. The Love and Deepspace fandom often jokes that Caleb acts like a dog. And yes, I am also aware that I gave Caleb 3 dragon Pokemon and Silas only got 1. That wasn't intentional, I swear. And that's it. I gave each love interest and the twins a Pokemon team. What did you guys think? Did you like my suggestions, or did you completely hate them? Maybe you have your own suggestions. Let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you so much for watching.